Okay. Boom! Welcome to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I'm Thundercloud. Mum calls me James, washing away the garbage leaf. Rainbows after rain. Let's have some fun and linguistic games. Hey, this podium's going down. Okay, well, I'm standing up then. Well, what's been going on here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame? I'm busy organising the Trout Fest Poets Breakfast and the Trout Fest Youth Poetry Competition. You can download the entry forms on the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame website.com.au. Under events and downloads pages you'll find more information. As well as that, we've got the Australian Bush Poetry Film Festival that I'm running right at this very moment, and it's open for submission. So if you've got a smartphone and you've got a bush poetry poem, then film yourself and submit it via filmfreeway.com/Australian Poetry Competition. And you can also look at that in the links below on our web page under events and downloads. Okay, let's begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which I broadcast, the Camillaroi and the Banbai people, to acknowledge the continuing connection to the land of the elders past and present, and acknowledge sovereignty has never been ceded. All right, moving right along. Well, we've got 5 of us here tonight, maybe 1 or 2 more turning up during the evening. Who knows? Who really cares? But we've all got some lovely poetry for you tonight. Now, what's been happening in my life here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame? On Sunday, I got a visit by John McAulay from Kilcoy and his wife Lynn, and they were passing by, and it happened that they just wanted a coffee, and they stopped here, and John's a poet, left me a copy of not only his book, Aussie Yarns, but his father's poetry book, Bush Poetry by Bill McAulay, W.H. Bill McAulay, A Bushy's Ballads, and I'm going to be reading you out one of them first of all. So, welcome poets, welcome viewers, and this one that I'm reading you is called Rain, and the reason I'm reading that out tonight is because we've just had some beautiful rain here in Guyra. That's going to make the farmers happy. It's going to bring greenness to the fields and feed the cows, the cattle, the sheep, the goats, and whatever else other people want to kill. Rain, sweet, blessed and glorious rain, healer of our sorrows, easer of our pain. You've come back to us again, just as we were starting to despair, bowed down with anxiety and care. Hence the grey twinge in our hair. Back when we thought you were lost, back to repay our cost, back the first time since frost, things were starting to get serious. Men everywhere were mad, delirious. Christmas would have lost its cheeriness. Rain ceased. So did I. Composed by M.H. Bill McAulay on the 25th of June 1936. So this is why the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame and the Australian Poetry Archive here is really important, because this publication here has only ever been held by Bill's family, and he's passed off to his friends. So for us to get one of these copies, it means it's this transient poetry that's very little of, and it's here for perpetuity in forever and a day, and hopefully at the Australian Poetry Library and Archive, and for you to enjoy if you ever come here and read it, or if you listen to Wednesday Words, or if you want to hear more of Bill's poetry, tune in to Chill on Tuesday, last night's edition, on the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame YouTube website. And this is, by the way, the 107th episode of Wednesday Words. That's right, we've been going for, well over 2 years now, because there's been sometimes we've missed, but it is Australia's most consistent poetry show every Wednesday from here in little old Guyra. Right, so you've heard Bill's poem. Now I'm going to read you John McAulay's poem. So this is from Aussie Yarns. It's a self-published book by John McAulay. I'll put the ISBN in the link below and in the description. You can find out more about all of what's going on, along with the link to events, and also below in the description you'll find the PayPal link to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame donations page, where you can donate and support this awesome poetry show that I'm doing, this awesome venue that brings poetry, Australian poetry, supports Australian poets, past, present and emerging, etc, etc. Okay, this, a little bit about John McAulay. He's an old farmer from up Kilcoy way. And so he's got a bit of old farmer advice here, I guess. I just give general advice, really. Take your chances as they come. Do what you do well, boy, the old time song did say. Another said on sunny days is when you should make the hay. The message I would give to you from all I've learnt to date is take your chances when they come, and don't leave your lot to fate. There is a wide divergent range within what fate bestows, sometimes the very highest highs, sometimes the lowest lows. We must accept our share of both, as though our life we ride, enjoy the good times as they come and take the bad ones in your stride. The measure of how people will recall us when we're dead is not the way we've treated them or even what we've said, but how we handled all extremes, the good times and the bad, humility on happy days, acceptance of the sad. And we're even luckier if we can find the way to garner something useful from what comes to us each day, to ride the highs, survive the lows, and always understand our attitude to life will help us reach what we have planned. And so, when a chance presents itself, enjoy it while it lasts, and using your experience to profit from your past. Extract whatever benefits those chances offer you. Don't take your chances as they come, don't waste them. They're too few. So that's a bit of advice from John McAulay there. All right, so I got another one here. This is 100 Australian poems that you need to know, this book. And someone was in just the other day asking if I had a book of poems by Harry Breaker Morant. Now, Harry Breaker Morant, he was a horse breaker up in Queensland first, and in that time, before he went off to the Boer War, he submitted in 10 years from 1891, up until 1901, he submitted something like 60 poems to the Bulletin, which were then published. So he was born the same year as Banjo Patterson, didn't quite live as long because they shot him. Quite justified, I believe, because he was responsible for the murder, and it's totally proven and everything, the murder of 12 prisoners of war, so against the rules of engagement in war. When you've got a POW, yes, they're supposed to stay alive, and you're responsible for looking after them. Well, him and his comrades killed these POWs, so yeah, they got executed in a firing squad. It happens. But this is one of his poems before that happened, because he didn't write much after he was shot. He was dead. Yeah. So this is since the country carried sheep. We trucked the cows to Homebush, saw the girls and started back. Went west through Cunnamulla and got to the Yulo track. Camped a while at Gonny Bibble, but Lord, you wouldn't know. it for the place where you and Mick were stockmen long ago. Young Marino bought the station, fenced the run and built a shed, sacked the stockman, sold the cattle and put on sheep instead. But he wasn't built for Queensland, and every blessed year one hears of labour troubles when Marino starts to shear. There are ructions with the rouseabouts and shearers' strikes galore, and the likes were never thought of in the cattle days of yore. And slowly round small paddocks now the sleeping lizards creep, and Gonny Bibble's beggared since the country carried sheep. Time was we had the horses up ere starlight waned away. The belly would be boiling by the breaking of the day. And our horses by protection were aye in decent nick when we rode up the Bidgie where the clear skins mustered thick. They've built the brushes on Wild Horse Creek, where in the morning's hush we've sat silent in the saddle and listened for the rush of the scrubbers when we heard them. 'Twas the wheel them, if you can, while Gidgee, Pine and Mulga tried the nerve of horse and man. The Mickeys that we've branded there, the colts we had to ride in Gonny Bibble's palmy days before the old boss died. Could Yorkie Hawkins see his run, I guess his ghost would weep, for Gonny Bibble's beggared since the country carried sheep. From sunrise until sunset through the summer's days we ride, but stock rails were up and pegged with cattle safe inside. When twixt the gloamin' and the murk we heard the well-known note of pearl boisterous of laughter from the kookaburra's throat. Camped out beneath the starlit skies, the tree tops overhead, a saddle for a pillow and a blanket for a bed. 'Twas pleasant, mate, to listen to the soughing of the breeze and learn the littling lullabies which stirred the mulga trees. Our sleep was sound in those times, for the mustering days were hard. The morrows might be harder with the branding in the yard. But did you see the station now? The men, the mokes they keep? You'd own the place, was beggared since the country carried sheep. So that's, Harry Morant, Breaker Morant, 1962. I'll just read you a bit about his bio here. 1864 to 1902, was born in England, came to Australia in 1883. Less than a year after his arrival, he married a woman, later to become well known as Daisy Bates, whoever she was, I don't know, I'll have to look that up, or you can. The marriage only lasted a few weeks. He lived a nomadic life as a drover and a horsebreaker, but contributed 60 poems to the Bulletin over a decade from 1891. He enlisted in the South Australian Mounted Rifles to go to the Boer War and was then court-martialled for the murder of some prisoners and executed by firing squad. Mm. Okay.
They made the movie, didn't they?
They did, yes. Yeah. Now, having read a bit more about him, of course his family think it was quite unjustified. But I don't know, would he have even had family if he was, yeah. And anyway, but then, other historians say, yeah, it was quite justified and that he did do what he did and he got what he deserved. So there you go. I'm just the messenger, don't shoot me. Hey. All right. Now, of our poems, I know Skye's got something, Gabriel's got something. Who else has got something here tonight? Saul, George, anything?
Oh,
you don't have to.
Maybe a moon thing, but I'm not sure.
A moon thing? You're going to moon us?
It's a blue.
Oh, that's a super blue moon. It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I could sing Blue Moon if you want.
Well done. Hey.
Blue moon. Yeah, okay.
Duet.
We could. All right. Well, look, I'm gonna do you one of mine for the week. All right. This one I didn't finish. It's got to be continued at the end. It's a bit of self-reflection one. I'm far from perfect, but I'm trying my best to become a better man. So I sit and self-reflect on the faults that I can correct, and where I need to redirect my attention for better effort, listening to my thoughts, suggestion, I ought to play more sport, prepare for life, and battles fought so I'm never caught. To implement some change I'll have to rearrange, not be strange or be deranged, but use my wisdom and my brains, plan, take action. From the heart, ideas take traction from the start through diction. I'll impart a poetic rhythm off the chart, a clean slate and a clean plate. A starting time, do not be late, live in love. With joy, not hate, never berate, but do debate and always take control of your fate. As a friend I won't abuse and I will always state my truth. I will listen to my muse, take responsibility and not make excuse. To be continued. Yeah, it was just it was just a lot of like writing. It was pretty much, as you can see, there was no full stops in it. It was
Still waiting for the continued.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't. So, and then, all right, and I'm going to do one more before would you like to come on up, Skye? No, okay. Well, then I'll ask Gabriel to come on up next. Now, this was a bit of a play on words. As a linguist, I'm a cunning linguist, not a cunning linguist. Well, maybe, sometime. Cunning linguist. I just did that live on YouTube. All right. Welcome, Australia. Tommy, this is so when you add a to a word, it means not. Like so Tom, it's about a tomato. It's a tomato with a happy face. See, he's a happy, smiley face. See his face? Yeah, we'll show you. There you go, YouTube people. So yeah, Tommy is a tripper who has no toes, so we call him Tom A Toes. He hasn't got a nose, but we don't call him Tom A Nose. He hasn't got clothes, but he's not named Tom A Clothes. For why do you suppose they focus down below whether 1 or 2 or 10? Tommy has no toes. He hasn't got sisters, and definitely no bros, but he's not Tom A Sisters, nor is he Tom A Bros. He's not Tom A Legs, Tom A Arms, Tom A Body. He hasn't got a neck, but he's not Tom A Noddy. We haven't got a clue how Tommy's story goes, but some linguistic genius named him Tom A Toes. Yeah. And I thought of that one. I must be, I didn't name him. Gabriel, welcome. Dry ass.
Hi everybody, I got 4 with 2 plus 2. This is coming to you after the great dramas of the Women's Football World Championship, where the Australian team, the Matildas, ended up 4th, getting into the semi-final. I thought, I remember there was a poem about Matildas once. Who was it? And I found it. And it's by the Catholic satirists of the 1890s to the 1930s, Hilaire Belloc. The poem. Matilda, who told lies and was burnt to death. Matilda told such dreadful lies it made one gasp and stretch one's eyes. Her aunt, who from her earliest youth had kept a strict regard for truth, attempted to believe Matilda. The effort nearly very nearly killed her, and would have done so had not she discovered this infirmity. For once, towards the close of day, Matilda, growing tired of play, and finding she was left alone, went tiptoe to the telephone and summoned the immediate aid of London's noble fire brigade. Within an hour, the gallant band were pouring in on every hand, from Putney, Hackney Downs and Bow. With courage high and hearts aglow, they galloped roaring through the town. Matilda's house is burning down. Inspired by British cheers and loud, proceeding from the frenzied crowd, they ran their ladders through a score of windows on the ballroom floor, and took peculiar pains to souse the pictures up and down the house, until Matilda's aunt succeeded in showing them they were not needed, and even then she had to pay to get the men to go away. It happened that a few weeks later, her aunt went off to the theatre to see that interesting play, The Second Mrs. Tanqueray. She had refused to take her niece to see her this entertaining piece, a deprivation just and wise to punish her for telling lies. That night, a fire did break out. You should have heard Matilda shout. You should have heard her scream and bawl, and throw the window up and call to passing people on the street. The rapidly increasing heat encouraged her to obtain their confidence, but all in vain. For every time she shouted fire, they only answered little liar. And therefore, when her aunt returned, Matilda and the house were burned. Oh dear, isn't that terrible? Second Hilaire Belloc. I went to Columbia for an accounting conference a couple of months ago, and Hilaire Belloc also wrote about South American beasts. This one's called the llama. The llama is a woolly sort of fleecy, hairy goat with an shows you've never seen it, of course, with an indolent expression and an undulating throat, like an unsuccessful literary man. And I know the place he lives in, or at least I think I do. It is Ecuador, Brazil or Chile, possibly Peru. You must find it in the atlas if you can. The llama of the Pampas you never should confound, in spite of a deceptive similarity of sound, with the llama who is Lord of Turkestan. For the former is a beautiful and valuable beast, but the latter is not lovable nor useful in the least. And the ruminant is preferable surely to the priest who battens on the woeful superstitions of the East, the Mongol of the monastery of Shan. He was a very convinced Catholic, and this was the 1890s. Now, here are two of mine. One I wrote 30 years ago, and the other is my attempt over the last 2 weeks to edit it and give it a different spirit. And I shall judge by your reactions or lack thereof whether the update is better or worse than the original. So here's the original. It's called A Dream of Red Mallards. I was at a fairground stall, midnight in Medan. The stall had pyramids of porcelain ducks, heads facing me. I had 10 golden hoops to throw. If my aim were true, I would win the prize, signified by the pewter labels hung round every head. Different duck, different prize. Letters of sparkling orange spelt out an object of possible desire, or a state of probable contentment. Those to my left had labels for things like a black stretch limousine with a chauffeur, a palazzo fully serviced near the Rialto, a controlling share in a telecom monopoly. Those to my right had labels for events, such as discovering on Madagascar Dodo still breathed, writing the screenplay of a Spielberg blockbuster, coining and popularising the next great ism. Those in front of me were more abstract, promising answers to such questions as, how do we go faster than light speed? To what was Ebola an evolutionary adaptation? Which bits of today's metaphysics are tomorrow's physics? Was it better to aim for one specific duck or blindly throw where no man had thrown before and hope some invisible wind would, with superordinate wisdom, speed the hoop to where it would best fulfil some supernal strategy? Or, better yet, to mix these two, first aiming like a basketballer with turns 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, then throwing blindly with every even turn. Yes, why choose one when both are available? So, first I aimed left to the dodo duck, most carefully. It was a perfect shot. It came down around the duck's neck, so strong its clang, the head fell off the duck. The duck fell off the stall, taking down the pyramid of porcelain fowls onto the ground in many pieces. Do I get my wish, said I. Do I get my duck, said the stall. Well, that was the original. And I think, well, let's have a go at giving it a tiny bit more rhythmic structure. This is still called mallards, and we start by stretching. Dreamt I was at a fairground stall, midday in Moree. Perched on that stall were many rows of ducks in front of me. I had 3 silver hoops to throw, rather small in size. If my aim was straight and true, I would win the prize, named on neon neck plates that hung from every head, on gossamer grey single strands of the thinnest thread. Ducks on my left promised properties unique, like a service suite in a top hotel with servants ever near, or a supersonic seaplane speeding through the stratosphere, or my own rare earth mineral mine in Mozambique. Ducks on my right offered fame throughout posterity for discovering in Durban that dodos did not expire, or writing plays so stirring even Shakespeare would admire, or engineering the genetic soup that guarantees longevity. Ducks in the centre would answer such puzzling questions as, how do we fly to far-off stars in just one generation? Or, to what, pray, was Ebola an evolutionary adaptation? Or, can we cure criminality by subliminal suggestions? I was drawn to the dodo duck and threw my first hoop there. My aim was true, my arm was strong. The hoop dropped on the duck so hard, the mallard was beheaded. It fell fast from its shelf. Tumbling through the lower shelves, all the ducks crashed to the ground in noisy fragments. I threw a hoop quite casually at the dodo duck. It landed firmly round its neck. I guess beginner's luck, this is not to do the last verse. It fell so hard the ducks fell down and brought down all the others. The ducks in pieces on the ground, the labels went all blank. A tragic, noisy holocaust from which no duck recovers. Time stood still, and so did I, and my heart also sank. Though shocked, ashamed, and fit to die, in trembling voice I dared to ask, do I get my prize? Sneered the sullen stallholder in immediate reply, Pandora's box was made new here, extended in its scope, but your greedy carelessness has extinguished its new hope. When you wake up and ask yourself, what is it this all means? Realise that more deceptions than in life are found in dreams.
Yeah. I like that line at the end. I really liked your first version, the not rhymed one. Yeah, really liked it.
So, you reckon work the first version and not the second?
Oh,
The
I
first certainly got more reaction from you guys.
Yeah, I personally enjoyed the first because it was more your voice. It was more your normal like writing voice,
Right.
what I would expect from you, whereas that second version seemed
Bit
strange
forced.
and forced. Yeah. Mm.
Agreed? More right.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like them both.
Yeah, no, I like them both. Yeah, I definitely, I kind of connected with the story in the second one, but I felt your voice much better in the first one. Yeah.
I'll actually turn them into two separate poems and make them less like each other in substance as well as form. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well, so that's interesting because that's about a dream. Because that's what my next one's about. I got one about nightmares in the land of nightmares and horrible dreams, and then I got one about they awoke with a fright, and it was the nightmare when they woke. So you're going to get both of them in a row here because they're on a theme here. In the land of nightmares and horrible dreams, people die of fright from alligator screams, hippopotamus bites and worms in their head wake up in a sweat just before they're dead. Anyone who gets there will surely get scared. Few ever choose it unless they're dead. There's swarms of killer wasps and imbeciles drinking aborted babies from colourful vials. You'll meet a sociopathic surgeon with a cough who eats bits from people that is cut off. People are bleeding, all you hear are screams in the land of nightmares and horrible dreams. Don't go there, stay away. Go to Planet Play, where nobody works but they play every day. Some read, some do sports, squash in a court. Everything's freely given and nothing is bought. Even the dunce knows about abundance. Pragmatic, he only has a few pairs of pants. Some play the fool and some play the stoic. One or two play the clown and all play heroic. Play football, Monopoly, chess or play games. Play piano music, play dress up as James. You can go to Planet Play any night or day, but if you... you can go to Planet Play any day or night, but if you ditch Planet Play, you'll truly get a fright. Yeah. Okay, I missed that last line up. Thank you very much. Well, just as I don't know where stuff comes from in my head. Sometimes it just wakes. I woke up. This one's a cracker. What would happen if the internet broke, eh? They awoke with a fright. But it wasn't a joke. The day they awoke, and the internet was broke. At first they all thought it was in their dreams, but dreams turned to nightmares and screams. Mostly from the narcissists. I need to mention, Look at My Bits got zero attention. Not 1 cent was earned from OnlyFans. Karen couldn't email complaints or demands. There were no porn sites, no one had a wank. No digital payments and nobody could bank. No ambulance, emergency, fire force or cops, only people with cash on hand were at the shops. New cars stopped working and people got lost. No geolocation, no AI, and trillions was the cost. All the online shopping kept a freezing and dropping with no iTunes or Spotify. No dancing or bopping. Some went for a walk, others for a ride. For the first time in years, some went outside. Some people wrote on paper with a pen, others dusted long forgotten instruments off again. People started bartering as a means of exchange. At first it was strange, but many embraced the change. People looked in at each other in the eye to talk. Teachers used whiteboards, blackboards, chalk. Traffic lights stopped. People had to give away. Chess, Monopoly, Scrabble were the games they began to play. Automation stopped, replaced by manual labour. For the first time, many met their neighbour. There were barbecues, bush dances, parties too, organised by word of mouth, like me telling you. Many people celebrated and many people cried. In hospitals, lots died and there was much youth suicide. I'm serious, this happened, and this is no joke. Globally, worldwide, the whole internet broke. Yeah. Now I read that out to some late teenage young ladies from Guyra here, and Ace said, "Yep, that's pretty accurate." Wouldn't it be funny, eh? Well,
And it wouldn't be the only thing that broke if it did break.
oh,
Everybody who had lots of money in it would be broke.
everyone would be broke,
Yeah.
broken. Yeah, Skye or Saul. Skye.
Whichever. When you go
She's pointing at you, Saul.
Point
She's
there?
she's
Okay.
volunteered you.
Okay, that's all right. I don't manage that.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh.
I need to put my phone
Well, hello, all you unbroken internet people. Well, you must say it was broke last week. Hey?
It did break last week.
Yeah, yeah,
20 minutes.
There was no one out there. They were
No.
broke. Okay. Hello, everyone. How are we? You have to bear with me. I've just been sort of oh, where did it go? Internet broke. Hang on. I thought I'd pin. Oh, I'll go to where my pin things are. Yeah. Oh. Look, it's been a pretty weird sort of a week. I think this blue moon that we got floating in the sky sort of.
We've had
just
half a dozen planets in retrograde as well.
Yeah, it's just. It's
Yeah.
been I've had to sort of read these things to friends in a bit of trauma, so I'll read them out there to the world. I've read them a couple of times, but I think they seem particularly apt for the moment. Okay. First one is just a little, it's called I Missed the Boat. I missed the boat and told the captain and the crew don't wait for me. So I set sail in a tin can and thought I can take this ship out into the open sea. But the current and the wind and tides and pirates came with their broadsides, all held me back from what I thought was my destiny. I rode against the wind and tide. I stayed afloat against those broadsides. All the while that I fought for life, my life was laid out before my eyes. As I survived, I grew wise. Then I realised, to my surprise, I had become the captain of my good ship on the Sea of Destiny.
Yes. What a great metaphor.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Excuse my language. Yeah.
And this is another sort of just press on regardless kind of thing. Or this one's actually got a bit more thing. I only read it a couple of weeks ago. Beauty lies in every breath we breathe. It's in the eyes of your lover. It's in the breeze that blows in the trees. But no hopes, no hope. We hope to find the truth. But life is full of what we do, not what we hope comes true. What does it mean to be happy? What does it mean to be free? What do you want to be happy? What do you want to be free? So many answers on our breath. We all believe that we breathe the truth. Life is full of what we do, not what we hope comes true. That's that one. And then, if I can find this one, which should be at the top of my pin things. When you pin things, do they go to the top? They don't seem to, do they? Rats. I lost the one I had all ready to do. I can't even remember what it is. I mean, I can remember what it is, but I can't remember the key word that's going to get me there. Just bear with me for a moment. Oh, here's one. Oh no, I won't read it. It's just too silly.
Come. I got one about an elephant named Trevor. It's silly too.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. But just imagine this is like another poem of silence and blissful thoughts. You can make up your own little poem.
Yeah, I was thinking you could get away with saying that was it.
Well, this one was just a nice little silly one. I'll just grab one now. Okay. Here's a little love songy sort of thing. It's a little bit of humour in there. I could walk away tomorrow, but I wouldn't love you any less. Of all the crumpet that I've tasted, yours is the crumpet that I like the best. It's shallow, but it's true. Baby, I love you. It's shallow, but it's true. I wish that you could love me too. If all the girls in the world were strawberries, you'd be the one with the dob of cream. You said, let's desert ourselves together. And once again, I began to dream. It's shallow, but it's true. Baby, I love you. It's shallow, but it's true. I wish that you could love me too. To be Jack Horner, his thumb stuck in his pie. To plumb the depths of your body, your soul, your mind. Reflected in the moon, I see you clearly. I taste you on my lips through space and time. It's shallow, but it's true. Baby, I love you. It's shallow, but it's true. Time is never wasted when I'm with you.
Woohoo! Yay! Okay. Skye! Okay, I've got one. Skye's on her way in, and I've got one here. This was written about a photo I found on the internet of a Buddha's statue stuck in a fig tree like that. So I'll show the people out there, just like that. Yeah, it's got a rude word at the end called fuck. So just warning you there. There once was a man who sat on the ground for so long that a tree grew to surround him. All around with the roots of a tree he sat silently, and his mind was free. He didn't know bad, and he didn't know good. He sat on the ground surrounded by wood. He never ever moved, but certainly coulda. His friends and family nicknamed him Buddha. Here is a bit more information. Well, he was actually Buddha's reincarnation. When he awoke from his meditation, he looked around at his stuck situation and said, oh, I've been here so long, well now I'm stuck and I can't get out. Holy fuck. Skye! Thundercloud calling Skye. Here she comes.
You could run it down, the sky would be falling.
Yeah.
He's right.
The thundercloud's only part of the sky. The sky's the ruler of the thundercloud.
conversations with a rat. You need to understand the reason why I play and rummage all around through your place from night to day. The food is there for all to share, it's neither yours or theirs, and better for to care. For the world should be so fair, I so prefer my food out there, whole and rich and raw, and the comfort of a nature's log, a home that I adore. But humans they invade, the land they strip it bare, poison everything, then claim that all is theirs, and so that what's left for us, the wild, with no room to move, and no human voice, no voice to share, to explain our fight, it's really not fair. For human greed is great and mighty, we have not a chance out there. So no hands to grab or build or sow the land we need to grow, and so you really need to share, so we don't have to come in there to forage, steal and borrow.
Yay!
That was a while ago. Just found it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was like March. Yeah,
Cool.
that was after you found that rat.
Oh, the dead one.
The dead one, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not a rat.
Yeah. And I'll do this cute one. Oh, sweet bliss. Blissful, blissful. Blissful, blissful, suckle, suckle, groan and grind and grapple. Lick and suck and kiss all over, wanting to feel you inside. The flowing of friction, the connection of souls, the course of addiction, and lovely to hold. The ride in the dark, it's feeling so new. Oh, how blissful is you.
Thank you. Okay. Alright. Were you going to do a Blue Moon one or not, George?
A song.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, well, you're welcome
Have you
to.
got a guitar?
No. Oh, yeah, there's a blue one out there. There's a blue guitar.
Give it a go, if you like.
Yeah, if you want to go and get it. It's
All
out
right.
there. It's only it's a mini guitar. So it's
Christine,
classic.
one about a shoe
No,
shop.
I didn't.
All right. Well, look, I've got still 3 to go. So while George is getting that one, I'll do Trevor the Elephant. There was an elephant whose name was Trevor. He thought he was smart, but he wasn't very clever. He went on a pilgrimage, some kind of heroic endeavour, to do the impossible, which would take him forever. Trevor said, I'm gonna bring back the never never. I will need a knife because I will need to sever the never never, said Trevor, and probably a lever, but don't wait up for me. It'll take a long time, said Trevor. Trevor thought he was clever, but he wasn't very smart. But he had determination and he had a big heart. He packed a knife, a lever, a sandwich and a tart and a mattress plus a tent, and he put it in his cart. Then double-checked his plan and changed a part. Went and got some more supplies down at Kmart, including a universal map and a star chart. Put a rocket on his cart, and on Tuesday, finally made a start. Trevor took off in his cart to the sky on a clear day with quantum magnetopropulsion. It took him far, far away to the inside out of the multiverse where the never never play with a knife and a lever Trevor took it and hid it in the hay in his cart. Then Trevor ate his sandwich from a silver tray, returned to the jungle with it in his cart on Friday. He called all his friends to come and see his display, but as he lifted the hay, the never flew away. Trevor, the elephant, was shocked, and so was his friends, but Trevor had tenacity, and this isn't how it ends. He prepared all his provisions to leave and go again, to bring back the never, because he'd make amends. To do the impossible, taking forever. Trevor's story never ends. There are mountains, valleys, desert roads without bends. His meticulously plans, and every day he attends to his impossible mission, which never, ever ends. Poor Trevor. Yeah. So yeah, a bit of surrealism poetry happening there. George, are you ready?
Give it a go.
All right. Okay. We got George. What do we call you George tonight? George Neofitou. George or just George?
Can I sit down?
Yes, go for it. That's what it's for. Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to help me with the words because I might have forgotten them.
Okay.
It's been quite a while.
Blue Moon lyrics.
Wrong starting note. Gosh, that's really high. And that's low. I have to play in between. Okay, we'll do it from there. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of your own. Blue moon, you know what I was there for. You helped me say a prayer for someone I really care for. And then suddenly appeared before me, the only one that I could ever want.
And someone whispers it on me, and I look
Turn to gold, blue moon, you found me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you know what I was there for. Very brave and careful, someone I really care for. Suddenly there appeared before me, the only one that I was ever home. I heard something please adore me, and then I turned to gold. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own.
Okay.
I practiced it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a deep, very deep version, that one.
Oh, look, great.
Well, it's appropriate, it's a blue moon.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Well, I don't know, I could do karaoke. I've been practicing Goanna's Razor's Edge this week, so all because of my son. He sent me these like the lyrics to it, and I'm like, really? Because it's like it starts off like got a letter from David just the other day. He's living in Queensland, not okay, and I'm like, what? Your uncle? and then he sent me another verse, and then I realised like, what? Like Joanna? Yeah. But I'm not going to do that now, because you can see that on my Facebook page. What I am going to do is the last two, which have been written this morning and this afternoon, or this evening, just 11 minutes before I screenshotted it here, which is what I tend to do so I don't lose them. And when I find it, I screenshot it and it goes straight to screenshots, and then I can work off my recent screenshots. This one's called 1 Awake, 2 Asleep, 3 Aware. It's basically it's basically one poem in 3 parts. The first part is, 12 lines. The second part, 2 Asleep, is 11 lines. And part 3 is just the last line, which rhymes with the last line of part 2. So it sort of continues anyway. It's called Awake, Asleep, Aware. Today, I awoke when I drank a tea. I opened my gob and the tea went in me. An idea arose. At first it was wild to imagine I was free as when I was a child. To play, imagine, mostly create monsters, heroes, adventures so great, remembering laughter, joy and giggles, run, jump, hop and funny little wiggles. So I let go of the outdated old me, rebooted and set my mind free. That's 1. 2, from indoctrination and the dogma scam, stepped out of the matrix, set my own program from that mainstream misinformed education. Schools and propaganda are schools are propaganda, public relations. Teachers are comrades, teaching lines, obey, work, sleep, pay tax, you'll be fine, but if you don't obey, you'll be fined. Socially ostracized, cancelled, maligned, brought into line, you must obey. 3. Today, I say, fuck programming, let's play. That's, 1, 2, 3. And finally, sort of a bit along the same line, and I sort of have Skye to thank you for some of these lines that anyway, because I was like, anyway, you don't have to like what I'm saying, because, well, actually, I do. I'm going to put a bit of context to this. Recently, within the last year, I went online and you can do quite a complex personality assessment test with Jordan B. Peterson, the famous podcaster and psychologist, to see, and it's what kind of personality you have. Well, I've got a bit of a disagreeable personality, like in the 37 percentile. So, but that doesn't mean I'm really disagreeable. Like, I'm not like psychopathic. It just means I stand up for myself. All right, I have got an evil poet laugh in the poem. All right, you don't have to like what I say because I'm disagreeable and I disobey. I don't like artificial rules and the way they indoctrinate children in schools. Despite intentions, it's all a scam. Discern what's learnt. Public garbage program. Never question, don't use brain. Monkeys and dogs, circus schools train. Mwahahaha, evil poet laughs. Raise 2 middle fingers and be a wild grey giraffe. That's it. Wild grey giraffe, yeah, okay. The last thing you think of, isn't it? All right, well, I'm Thundercloud. I'm finishing up for tonight. Thank you very much for coming. Our faithful poets, 6 of us all up here tonight. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you.
And I do believe we will see Ashley back here very, very soon because he's itching to get back here. Yeah, as soon as
He has been seen in armour, though.
Oh yes, he has been definitely cited and quite regularly by some people. Yeah, who regularly go to armour, you'll definitely bump into him. Especially if you go to what is that cafe? The Fat Goose. Yeah. Yes, he's often at the Fat Goose, or in the mall, or wherever, who knows, I don't know. Anyway, alright, we hope to see him back soon. We probably will see Gladys back next week too, because she's also been writing away. She came in today and, it was donated $20 for Wednesday Words to keep the lights on here. So, if down in the link below you'll see the PayPal donation link at Australian Poetry, or if you'd like to donate and help out, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much. And look, I've got a superpower. Watch this. I can stick my hair up like that. That's the extent of my superpowers. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. Make sure you give it a thumbs up.